Hey children, welcome back to AP Macroeconomics with your favorite teacher, me, Mr. Fritz. Today I'm going to talk to you about calculating inflation. That includes calculating CPI, how to calculate the cost of a market basket, how to make your own price index, and use that to calculate inflation rates from one year to the next. Next, what we're going to do is we are going to create our own price index. And the way that you do this is you take the cost of a market basket in a given year, divide it by the cost of a market basket in a base year times 100. So first, I'll need to explain what a market basket is. A market basket is just an assortment of goods and services that most consumers in an economy are expected to buy in a given year. So in this economy that we're looking at here, these are people that buy a lot of lattes, ice cream, and cookies. So every year we expect consumers, average consumers, to buy 25 lattes, 100 quarts of ice cream, and 50 packages of cookies. So we're going to look at what these exact same amounts of goods and services, same quality, same amount, and look at how much their prices change, how much all these together cost in 2015, and then how much they cost in 2020, so that we can actually measure how much prices changed overall between these 2 years over that 5-year period. And so what we do, first calculate the cost of the market basket of goods in the table in 2015 and 2020. Show your work. Okay, so the cost of a market basket in 2015. We have 25 cups of coffee and they're $2 each. So that costs 50 bucks, right? 25 times 2 is 50. So the cost of market basket is going to be, oops, that doesn't look right. It's going to be $50 plus we had 100 quarts of ice cream and they cost $1 each. So that's $100. And then we're going to add to that 50 packs of cookies, $1 each. That is $50. And the cost of a market basket for 2015 is going to be $200. So cost of a market basket for 2015 equals $200. Now we need to get 2020, 2020, and we'll see what that is here. All right, so same exact goods and services, same exact amount, except 5 years later now. We had 25 cups of latte or 25 lattes, and they cost $2.50 each. 25 times 2.5 equals $62.50. 62.5 plus, what do we got next? We have 100 quarts of ice cream times 1.25. They cost $1.25 now. It's going to be $125. I need a dollar sign. 25. And then finally, we're going to add to that 50 packages of cookies, and they cost $1.50 each, and that comes out to $75. Dollar sign again. $75. And all together, now I need to add that up. I'm going to use my calculator. What is that? Oh, no, I'm not. That is $262.50. Okay, so prices have definitely increased. Yoink, $262.50. Now that I've showed you where we get the cost of a market basket from, where those numbers actually come from, we're going to use the market basket costs to create a consumer price index and measure inflation, and then look at these nominal salaries and adjust them for inflation to see what people are really earning. So in order to find your CPR, create your price index, you're going to take the cost of a market basket in whatever year you're looking at or looking for. In this case, it's 2015. Divide it by the cost of the market basket in the base year. In this case, the base year is 2015. It's labeled. And then multiply by 100, and that will give you your price index. So for this first one, because it's the base year is always going to keep it 100. And just to prove it, 75 divided by 75 times 100 is 100. So there you go. For the second one, we're going to take the cost of the market basket in 2016. That's $90. Divide it by the cost of the market basket in the base year. That's $75. and then we're going to multiply that by 100. And oops, I'm going to add an equal sign. I like that. And that is going to come out to 120. Our CPI, or price index, or CPI for 2016 is 120. Now we'll do it again with this last year, 2017. You take the cost of a market basket in 2017, $120, divide it by the cost of the market basket in the base year, which was $75, and then multiply by 100. And that is going to come out to 160. I'm not doing these in my head. I did them in the calculator before. I'd suggest you use your calculator for these unless they're just simple math that you could do in your head. All right. So now we have our CPI, our price index. So our price index is 100 in the base year, which is always the case, 120 in 2016, and 160 in 2017. Now we can use that price index to deflate these nominal salaries. We can find out what making 40,000, or well, I guess 40,000 is easy. We can find out what making $51,000 in 2016 would be compared to if you were making it in 2015. So we're going to take these nominal salaries and find our real salary. To do that, we take our nominal salary, divide it by our CPI, and then multiply by 100, and that's going to give us our real salary. And so for this first one, it's pretty easy. It's the base year, and so 40,000 divided by CPI of 100 times 100 is going to be 40,000. So, which makes sense. That's the year whose prices we're comparing all the other years to. So making $40,000 in 2015 is like making $40,000 in 2015. Let's look at the next year for 2016. So we're going to take our $51,000, divide it by 120, which is our CPI for that year, and then multiply by 100. And that is going to come out to our CPI of, or sorry, our real salary of, and this time I'm going to have to get my calculator. So even though we're making $11,000 more this next year in 2016 than we did in 2015, because of the increase in prices, we are actually, in real value, we're only really making $2,500 more. So once we've adjusted for the inflation, $51,000 in 2016 is the equivalent of making $42,500 in the year 2015. Let's do the same thing for 2017 now. We take our $60,000 that we made in 2017, divide it by our CPI of that year of 160, multiply by 100, and that is going to come out to, let's figure it out. That comes out to $37,500. So once we've adjusted all these nominal salaries for inflation, it turns out that from 2015 to 2016 in real value, we did make more money, $2,500 more. But from 2016 to 2017, even though we made $9,000 more in 2017, when we adjusted for inflation, our real salary is actually decreased. We're actually making less than we did before because of how higher prices jumped between those 2 years. All right, so next I want to see by what percentage did inflation increase between 2015 and 2016? Remember from our previous video, to measure inflation, you're going to take your new value or your new CPI, minus your old value, new minus old, divided by our old value, old CPI, times 100. And for this one, that is going to come out to our new CPI is the newest year, so that's 2016's, so that's 120, minus our old, which was 2015's, 100, divided by our old, times 100. And so that's going to come out to 120 minus 100 is 20, divided by 100 is 0.2, times 100 is 20%. So prices increased by 20% between 2015 and 2016. For the next question, assume that Taylor, that's me, got a fixed rate loan from a bank in the year 2015 when the expected inflation rate was 18%. Based on the actual change in inflation between 2015 and 2016, who benefits from the unexpected inflation? All right, so how this works, to get our real interest rate, and we'll keep working on this later, I'll make a whole different video about it. Our real interest rate is going to be equal to our nominal interest rate minus the inflation rate. And so what we have here, our real interest rate, what we're actually paying back in real value. The bank charged me a nominal interest rate of 22%. My inflation rate was expected to be 18%. And so because of that, I and the bank both thought that I was going to end up paying 4% real interest rate. We thought I was going to pay back 4% real value based on how high inflation was expected to go the next year. However, as we've seen, our inflation rate between 2015 and 2016 actually ended up being 20%. And that's 20%. And so we're experiencing some unexpected inflation. That's higher than we expected. We expected 18%. We're experiencing 20%. And so what ends up happening, this 22% nominal interest rate, now that inflation has actually risen by 20% instead of 18, that real interest rate is actually dropping to 2%. And so, because of that, this unexpected inflation has caused me, the borrower, to be better off. I thought I was going to pay back 4% in a real interest rate, but I'm now only paying back 2%. The money that I'm paying back to the bank is worth less than both I and the bank thought it would be. So I'm coming out on top, and the bank is doing worse than they thought they would. My next video is going to talk more about this interest rates and inflation. And so we'll go into that in a little more detail. So next video, we'll talk about interest rates and inflation. And this ends our inflation video. Goodbye, children.